What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Locked In Sports Podcast. I'm William Locke, and joining me today for our MLB weekend recap Monday night podcast is Luis Barranco. Luis, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Just got back from Puerto Rico. Scouted out some places because 2026 WBC is coming up, and Puerto Rico is a regional site. We also have the MLB lockout, so maybe Locked In Sports decides to abandon MLB during the lockout, and we do like a season 2 of Eastbound and Down, where Kenny Powers goes to the Mexican League, and we start covering Winter League Baseball and WBC in Puerto Rico. You would have to buff up your Spanish. I think that'd be the first thing. You're not Ben Rice levels, but
Yeah, I'm definitely not Ben Rice levels. He's basically, I think he is fluent. I would definitely need to brush up. Rudimentary, ability in Spanish. But speaking of the WBC, Aaron Judge, WBC captain for 2026. It was announced today.
Hey man, talk about like the WBC. Like, there's been a lot of news. The groups got dropped, the locations got dropped, and we can start previewing it now. Aaron Judge, WBC captain, that's big. We're probably going to see Anthony Rizzo at first base. We're probably going to see DJ LeMahieu at third base or in some capacity on this team. We do hope that he has no selection of the players, because I'm telling you right now, Anthony Rizzo and DJ LeMahieu will make themselves on the roster some way or another.
Yeah, Joe Girardi, he'll make Joe Girardi the manager over Mark DeRosa, even though I do think Mark DeRosa, I think he should get a major league job.
Don't you think that's kind of weird that, they just got a guy that has like little to no managerial experience, in the sense that like at the big league level?
I think his only managerial experience was the WBC in 2023. It is a little weird. I think it's maybe a little bit more weird that he hasn't gotten an opportunity in coaching elsewhere. Maybe I have no idea. Maybe he's been offered minor league contracts or assistant staff at the major league level, and he just hasn't taken those opportunities. But to me, on the outside looking in, he seems like a really good dude to play for. And I love watching him on MLB Central.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when these like college coaches get out of they how do I say it? Like these colleges go get like ex players that have no coaching experience. Like, I was gonna say Penny Hardaway, but he has coaching experience. But like Chris Mullen or like Patrick Ewing, people like that. So
yeah,
it's very interesting. Coaching staff got announced, so DeRosa is going to be leading. They also have Andy Pettitte, ex-Yankee, as the pitching coach. I did also see that David Ross, I think, is the bullpen coach. David Ross is on roster. Skip Schumacher is also on the coaching staff. So there's like a good collection of coaches for Team USA. It will be interesting to see who they actually do get commitments from to play the tournament. Last time we had a bunch of like, I don't say no-name pitchers, but a bunch of like new pitchers to the casual fan.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest question. We know the talent is going to be there in the batting order, but are guys like Paul Skeen's going to pitch? Zach Wheeler, are those guys going to play this time? Last time around, Lance Lynn was playing a big role, and he's retired now. Interesting note on Schumacher. Obviously, didn't continue on with the Marlins after last season. Be curious to see if he is an MLB manager when he ends up doing this WBC thing next year, or if, maybe he decides not to do it if he does get an MLB job, because he was kind of one of those names that we've been floating out there for next offseason that's going to be hired, specifically targeting the Cardinals, but they've kind of been off to a decent start this year. So maybe that'll change, but I see him as a major league manager. So just wondering what that'll end up with, or how that'll end up with his participation in the WBC next year.
Let me ask you this question, okay? I'm going to go through the 4 groups right now because they're already set. Qualifiers finished up, and I'm going to ask, and I'm going to give you the location, and you're going to tell me the 2 teams that advance, okay?
Okay.
Just right now.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire. Pool A is going to be in San Juan, Puerto Rico, which I'm trying to talk William into going. He's never been to Puerto Rico. It'd be a cool experience.
It'd be cool.
Maybe Maybe we get Armand to come. Who knows if he has time? Instead of
Yeah,
just doing Boston Fenway, we could come Puerto Rico. It'd be pretty fun. We can go to the jungle for a day. It'd be pretty lit. Puerto Rico, Cuba, Canada, Panama, and Colombia.
Puerto Rico, Cuba, Canada,
Panama, and Colombia.
I'll say Puerto Rico and Cuba.
I'm taking Puerto Rico and Canada.
I could see it.
Okay. Vinny Pasquantino has a Canadian he's eligible to play for Team Canada. He's eligible for Team USA, Italy, and Team Canada.
I did see that. Yeah, I saw that on Twitter today.
So Pool B will be played at Dakin Park in Houston, and it is United States, Mexico, Italy, Great Britain, and Brazil.
USA and Mexico are going through those. Yeah,
that Mexican pitching staff, that end game pitching staff, if they get to it, Andres Munoz, Jeremiah Estrada.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, so be interesting. Maybe Julio Urias gets the call, maybe to pitch. Who knows? Kind of a dicey subject.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Next one in the Tokyo Dome, which William, you went to, it's going to be Japan, Australia, South Korea, Chechnya, which is Czech Republic, and Chinese Taipei.
Give me Chinese Taipei and Japan walking through that one.
Yeah, I see the same thing. The Chinese Taipei is number 2. Then Pool D at Lone Depot Park, you got Venezuela, Dominican Republics, the Dutch, the Netherlands, Israel, and Nicaragua.
I hate it as a Dutch fan because it's definitely going to be Venezuela and the DR. I mean, maybe not definitely. The DR struggled in last tournament in 2023, but I'll go chalk there.
It could be belt the ass situation for Israel, Nicaragua, and the Netherlands. Like, some of these groups are just awful. Like Pool B with Italy, Great Britain, and Brazil, I just totally feel bad that they have to play Mexico and the United States. Like, that is a belt the ass situation for those teams. So we'll see. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. Like, I was thinking today at the airport before my flight in Puerto Rico, I was thinking about what would be the United States, like, who would they call to be your pitching staff? If everybody's like eligible, who's your 5? And I don't know. It'd be very interesting to see. Like, so many options that can happen depending on 1, who's healthy, and 2, who wants to pitch. But if everybody's available and healthy, it's a tough question to answer.
I mean, and this will allude to some of the things we're going to talk about in today's episode. I think right now it's probably Paul Skeens number 1. I think Hunter Greene's in that conversation based on what I've seen so far this season from him. And then it's, Crochet potentially, Zach Wheeler potentially, Spencer Schwellenbach. Who knows how he's going to finish out this season?
Spencer Strider too, who's pitching on, who's going to get activated on Wednesday too. Don't forget about him.
Spencer Strider, yeah. Michael King. Did you see what he did this weekend? Complete game shutout against. I know it's the Rockies, but he had a great.
We'll talk about that. I have my things about Michael King.
Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of. I'm sure I'm forgetting some.
Corbin Burns, you're forgetting Corbin Burns. You're forgetting, like, if we were to do it through Corbin Burns, maybe a healthy Garrett Cole, maybe just bring him on to be like.
Cole won't be healthy by then.
It's who knows? You bring on a Garrett Cole. Who else could be eligible? I'm trying to think about American-born pitchers. We're definitely missing a Andrew would be so mad at us. Scooble.
Oh, duh.
So
that's the best pitcher in the sport. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, if everybody's like, Team USA could bring like 7 or 8. I think the pen would be kind of like where they would struggle. Like, who's closing the game?
Yeah. Tanner Scott, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, does that inspire confidence in you? Like, it's not like an Andres Munoz or, Edwin Diaz.
Robert Suarez. Yeah, it's not one of those guys. Yeah.
But hey, we got a year to talk about that. I mean, that's an off-season thing. But, it's MLB Week 2.5. We talked Wednesday, first part of the week with the Yankees and Tigers. Now we're going to open up, as we always do, with our Yankee talk with our resident Yankee aficionado, William. This week, the Yankees, this end of the week in 2.5, they played San Francisco, 3-game set, a really interesting series. Friday night they played. It was a gross game. I actually sat down and watched the whole game, and my baseball knowledge was insulted by how bad they played. I was propping up and gassing up the Yankees in front of my family. Marcus Stroman was awful. Just there's no other word to describe his outing. It was just really, really bad. Ended up losing that game 9-1, and they called the game in the sixth. It was raining. It was cold. Just wasn't a fun place to be there. You can tell Aaron Boone was very cold. Saturday, they won the game 7-2. Jordan Hicks didn't have the greatest start. Dominguez blew it open. Wilmer Flores was okay. Devin Williams again wasn't great in closing. And then Sunday is where it was another one of these games that we've seen early on in the year. That was a very winnable game for the Yankees, but one mistake cost them the game, and that being Carlos Rodon serving it up on a platter to Jung Hoo Lee, who hit 2 home runs yesterday. And they got to Logan Webb. They were up for most of the game, and then Jung Hoo Lee hit that second bomb, and it was over. William lost the series 2 out of 1. How are we feeling? Talk about it.
2 out of 3, yeah. I mean, another disappointing series. You lose 2 series in a week against, Detroit, a team that you would expect to maybe win 2 out of 3. San Francisco has been really good this year. I was kind of in on them in the preview, feeling good about my prediction. They've been one of the more fun teams to watch, and I think Jung Hoo Lee is the biggest storyline from this weekend. Like you said, had the 2 home runs on Sunday, hit another one on Friday night. I wrote about him in my Substack article this week. As Trent Grisham goes absolute yard as I'm speaking, he just hit it into the judges' chambers. 2-1 Yankees in the 5th against the Royals. But Jung Hoo Lee, 352 average on the season, 1.130 OPS. He's not a home run hitter, but he hit 3 against the Yankees this weekend. The Savant page is basically read. I was really impressed by him. I do want to give him a shout out before we get into the Yankees because I do think he deserves it. Friday, ugly. Stroman, 2/3 of an inning, 5 earned runs, only 1 strikeout. Obviously, he only pitched 2/3 of an inning. Then he lands on the injured list on Saturday with knee inflammation. He was saying after the game that he's still a starter. It just kind of feels like the end of the road with the Yankees and Marcus Stroman in their relationship. I don't see a future with him in this organization based on what I've seen, really heading into the season. Obviously, he was in trade rumors all offseason. So I understand the frustration from his side of the burst, of this argument. But when you're not pitching well, you don't get the benefit of the doubt. If he was pitching well, maybe he gets the benefit of the doubt based on all the things that he's been saying off the field. That Friday game was hideous. And the Yankees essentially said it got called in the 6th inning, and the Yankees said, hey, we don't really have any guys in the bullpen. Let's just call it here. We're down 8 runs. It's pretty much over. And they waved the white flag, whatever, on Friday. Tough loss. Robbie Ray was good. 7 strikeouts, 4 innings pitched. The Giants were not pitching to Judge in this game really all weekend. So that was Friday. Saturday was a good win. I thought Saturday was good. They got to Jordan Hicks the 3rd time around the lineup. And Dominguez had a clutch single to kind of blow it up in 7-2. Wilmer Flores is having a great year this year, tied for MLB lead in home runs with 6. He hit one on Saturday. Ben Rice homered. And then Devin Williams was shaky again. You mentioned it, but haven't really seen a clean outing from him yet this season. Again, that remains to be a concern.
Can we just get to the elephant in the room, which is yesterday?
I know you want to talk yesterday. I just wanted to get Friday and Saturday in. I feel like I hit most of the key points. Sunday, yeah, it was Rodon. Ben Rice just went into home run as well. I was going to say second deck, but it didn't get quite to the second deck. Ben Rice just went yard. So 3-1 Yanks right now.
Can we talk about the revelation that Jung Hoo Lee has been for the Giants? Where would the Giants be without that guy? And he is a superstar at this point. He ranks 5th in OPS, which who would have thought that Jung Hoo Lee would be 5th in OPS with Aaron Judge and just absolutely tearing the cover out of the ball. He's getting triples into the gap. It's honestly coming out of an injury, a shoulder injury where he tore his labrum after he ran into the wall. That's just not an easy injury to just come back from. And just your mechanics as hitting all hit out of whack. That is just, again, the Giants have been looking for that like catalyst and that star in their lineup. I think they have it right there.
Yeah,
Like,
and he's one of those guys that he's not going to hit. His OPS is not going to remain in the one dot territory for the whole season, but he's one of those guys that's just a pain in the ass to get out. And even if he doesn't get on base, he's gonna force the pitcher to throw, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 pitches. And even if he's getting out, that's a huge benefit for your team because obviously the pitcher throws more pitches, the less he's going to be able to go into the game. I love having him in your lineup. He's been great. He can run the bases. I think he has 3 stolen bases on the year. And for this lineup, it's interesting because the big boppers, so to speak, the guys that we thought were going to do most of their production heading into the season, Matt Chapman, Willy Adames, have not been that great this season so far. Willy Adames hit his first home run tonight against Philadelphia, but it's been guys like Mike Yastrzemski. It's been Wilmer Flores with the 6 home runs. It's been Jung Hoo Lee, who have stepped up for this team. And, you would think once those big boppers, Chapman, Adames, get going, maybe some of these guys will level off, but they're in second place in this division right now.
No, man. I mean, the other thing I think needs to be talked about from this weekend, I think, is the New York Post report. I don't know if you read it, but I heard about it, and I know they talked about it on the telecast yesterday with the Willy Adames that Willy Adames did in fact meet with the Yankees, had a Zoom meeting. He was very impressed, and it was probably he reflected it as one of his best Zoom meetings during the whole free agent process. The Yankees pretty much were like in a position where they were like, we want you, but we have to wait to what happens with Juan Soto. And the thing with Willy Adames was that, yes, he was super interested and was like wanted to become a Yankee. But the biggest problem was that he wanted to sign before Christmas. And we did not know how long the Juan Soto drama was going to actually like fully last. So he ended up going ahead and taking the money from the Giants. And, they asked Aaron Boone this weekend, hey, where would Adames would have played on this team? And he was like, oh, he would have played third base. So that kind of like, doesn't that sting to you? Like everything like that, like deep down inside?
It stings a little bit for sure. Cause you would have loved to have a third baseman locked up long-term. I do think it's interesting because you've brought this up before in previous recordings. The timing of the Adames thing. And I think this was the preview podcast that we were talking about it. He signed the day before Juan Soto did. So if he just waited a few more days, maybe the Yankees sign him. Maybe he comes to New York, but he wanted to sign before Christmas, like you said, and he's a Giant. The numbers haven't been there so far. It's still super early for him. And like I said, he hit a homer tonight. As by the way, Austin Wells just went yard for the Yankees 4-1. Considering the production the Yankees have gotten from third base so far this season, and we knew heading into the season it was going to be an issue. It feels like maybe one miss, not as hurtful as missing out on Bryce Harper by any stretch of the imagination, but still.
Can I ask you another question? And this is just me like thinking right now. Like Adames said he wanted to sign before Christmas because of the whole, he wanted to have relationships and build those relationships with the Yankees. Now that we know the type of player the Yankees are looking for something defensively. What do you think that goes moving forward? Doesn't that give you more of a clear vision of what's to come?
Are you alluding to like a Arenado type trade?
Potentially. Or something of a key Brian Hayes.
It's a name I haven't thought of, but
elite defense for one. And I think Adames is already looking elite defense, good clubhouse guy.
Yeah, Key Brian Hayes is, at least his Savant page, it's better. The numbers, maybe the production isn't quite there yet, but his expected batting average this year is 300 and he's hitting 226. So that suggests that he's getting really unlucky. There's a lot of red on his Savant page. Maybe the bat's going to come around for Hayes this year. That would be an interesting trade because they locked him up long-term and, the Pirates look at him like one of their franchise cornerstones. On the other side of things, from what I've seen so far from them this season, they stink.
They're abysmal.
But then again, if you trade Hayes, that's a clear message to Paul Skeens, like, hey man, we're not really trying to win here. And he takes that into account and he's like, I'm not going to resign here then. And it may not make a difference, but Just a thought.
You're getting that money off the books. And just like, aside from that fact, I think the Giants are going to be one of those teams. They're going to be a great road team because of how I think their bats are going to translate. Now, looking at their team now, I think their bats are going to really translate at like other hitter-friendly ballparks. Like AT&T Park in San Francisco is probably that one, and T-Mobile are two supremely pitcher-friendly parks. Look at Jung Hoo Lee. Everything was pulled out to right field towards Judge. And that's like the easiest place to hit it in Yankee Stadium. So imagine like you're going to get a bunch of games in Colorado, which Colorado's big, but the altitude presents itself as a very hitter-friendly park. And the Dodgers also, that wall is so thin and short. And as we saw last night with PCA, who just pulled the crap out of the ball last night on his home runs.
So, yeah, those 3 home runs that Jung Hoo Lee hit this weekend in Yankee Stadium were not home runs in San Francisco. So that's a good point. You want to talk about Sunday's game in Rodon? I know you wanted to get to that. That's kind of the elephant in the room.
Yeah, I mean, and the whole thing is, I think last thing with San Francisco, I think the bats are going to get better. Like, I really do think like the bats, like Adames and Chapman, I think like they're going to be better in other ballparks. So, but without further ado, we need to talk about Rodon. Mr. Carlos Rodon. I mean, he pitched good and great to start out, but then he just goes brain dead and decides to like blow the count with Jung Hoo Lee. Like, I watched the sequence of that bat and I'm like, why the hell would you throw something like that to him? Like, we had him right there for the taking. I mean, he went 5 2/3, 3 hits, 4 earned, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. I mean, you're paying this guy $28-29 million and you're expecting, I don't think ace level, but you're expecting like quality outings. I mean, it's kind of hard to win games when you give up 4 earned runs in this league. It's a pitcher-friendly league right now, so that's for one. And I have a couple stats for you. In his Yankee tenure, he's given up 51 home runs. Since last season, he's pitched 36 games. He's given up 36 home runs, 69 walks, and 10 hit batters. His current home run FB/FB is 26%.
What's home run/FB?
Home run, it's a metric that shows you about home run to fly ball rate. So it's the rate at which home runs are hit against a pitcher for every fly ball he allows.
Okay.
So, I mean, he's just not – I don't know, man. You're paying this guy that money. He has to be one of your top guys, and he just consistently just isn't good. Just really isn't good. He just screws the pooch every week. Here's other Yankee splits from Rodon. Credit to MLB Network. I was watching it this morning before I went to the airport. When Carlos Rodon gives up 0 home runs, the Yankees are 7-4 with a 63.6 win percentage. When he gives up one home run, they're 10-6 with a 62.5 win percentage. Now, when he gives up 2 or more, the Yankees are 3-6 with a 33% win percentage.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Good. I'm just saying, it's just so annoying that, and even Yonder Alonso said it on MLB Network. Credit MLB Network. I've been watching a lot of MLB Network this weekend. Said it like he's one of those guys that like he's so like, just to paraphrase, like hard on himself and wants to be good and great, that like once things aren't going right and things start going left, he kind of just like not self-destructs, but it's just like puts this pressure and just it kind of like wears on him. Like he wears his emotions on his sleeves. And I think we know that for a fact.
Yeah, we've talked about it in previous episodes. I think the thing with Rodon, this is a classic Carlos Rodon line. He's going 5. He's striking out 7+, but he's allowing the back-breaking home run that loses the game. That's just the story of Carlos Rodon. It feels like it's almost impossible for him to go 6+ with less than 3 earned runs. Like he's always given up that clutch home run that puts the team, the opponent ahead. It's very rare where you're like, wow, that was a flawless start from Carlos Rodon, or wow, Carlos Rodon really put the Yankees in a great position to win this baseball game. He always just has that one hiccup, and this another example was this Jung Hoo Lee home run yesterday. You could have argued maybe Boone left him in one batter too long. I think he wanted the lefty on lefty matchup, and it was in the 6th inning, so you didn't really want to use the bullpen for what would have been 11 outs at that point. But it's frustrating because this was a game that the Yankees were in position to win. You get a good start, or you get good production against Logan Webb, arguably one of the best pitchers, maybe top 10 to 15 pitcher in the sport. Certainly one of the more underrated pitchers in the sport. And guys like Paul Goldschmidt, they continue to produce. Jazz hit a home run late, but the offense did what it needed to do against Logan Webb, and unfortunately, Jung Hoo Lee is just a Yankee killer. And yeah, we'll see. I think Rodon's starting against Tampa this weekend. So, that's
where's the game, in Tampa?
It's in Tampa, so it's the exact same field size as the Yankees.
Is it a day game or a night game?
I'm not sure exactly what day he's pitching.
Day or night, like time.
He's scheduled for Friday, so it'll be a night game.
Okay, so Kyle Hendricks was talking about, because he was on MLB Network again. So this we might just call this podcast the MLB Network podcast, but Kyle Hendricks was talking about how no, it was foul territory for MLB Network. Can't remember. He was saying that the stadium is there's no difference, but the Angels pitchers did feel that the ball carried differently during the day in the night games. They said that the ball carried better in day games.
Okay.
So that's something to keep an eye on. But regardless, hey, it's a typical Rodon start. And I think like yesterday's game it's kind of like a game like that the Yankees have been in multiple times this year. I feel like the Arizona game when they were up and then Mark Leiter gave up that home run that game. And then the Tigers game that they lost versus Casey Mize, that's like the only like really game that I can just look at that the Yankees like truly like had no chance in winning. Like I feel like that start, they had no chance. Out of all the Yankees losses, I feel like the Arizona game and yesterday's game are two games that could easily be flipped. But if you look at the division, let's look at the division. The division's all in a deadlock. Everybody's beating each other up. Baltimore and Toronto were going at it this weekend. Toronto won the series against Boston earlier on in the week. So it's just like everybody's at a deadlock. Like Boston was going crazy berserk against the Cardinals, and then their match just went absolutely cold. So it's just super interesting how the AL East is just, again, we thought that there was a clear hierarchy in that division, but the AL East is playing like how an AL Central would play out. That there's complete cannibalistic, like going at each other, like beating each other up.
Yeah, the Yankees are in first with a .563 win percentage. The American League has 0 teams with 10 wins as we stand here 7:30 on Monday. That'll probably change by the end of the night. The National League has 5 teams with 10 plus wins. So I guess you could call it parity in the American League, or there's just not a lot of good teams, if any, right now in this league. But yeah, the Yankees, they're in second place, half a game back. Toronto, they split with the Orioles over the weekend, 1 game to 1. Should we move on? Any other final Yankees thoughts before we move on to the rest of the slate?
Don't look now, but the Angels are in first place of the AL West.
They are.
But I think with the Yankees, I think this week will be very interesting looking ahead. They are playing the Royals. I look at the Royals as probably potentially the class of the Central. They are facing Seth Lugo. They are getting a healthy diet of good pitchers. Chris Bubeck pitches too. So it'll be interesting. And then you get Tampa. Divisional games really are telling of how the team will perform. You can talk about how, many years you thought Tampa was the Yankees like kryptonite. No matter how bad Tampa was, the Yankees always found a way to struggle against Tampa. So we'll learn a lot this week about the Yankees. Reinforcements are on the way. Yes, Stroman, he did talk about probably the relationship is over. And we'll probably look back at his time as very up and down. For all the hype that I gave it, because I like players with aura and with swagger and come in, like he really failed to live up to the Yankee expectation, the Yankee brand. He's not going to hit the 140. The Yankees aren't going to let that happen, hit that 140 innings pitch. They're going to have him do a month of rehab, starts out in Somerset, Scranton, Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah.
Clark Schmidt pitches on Wednesday. Should be interesting to see how he comes back. Don't know if he's going to be on an innings limit or a pitch count. And then Luis Heel at the end of the week is going to start his rehab program. So by June, we could see a rotation of Fried, Rodon, maybe Will Warren, Schmidt, and Heel.
I mean, anything's better than what they have now. They're 30th in starting pitching rotation ERA. It can't get worse.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, people talk about the deadline, but I mean, I think the next team we're going to talk about is going to be a big player in what's going to happen at the deadline with the pitching market. And without further ado, let's talk about your local team, the Chicago Cubs. I last week on the pod said I thought the Cubs were going to win 2 out of 3 last week. They did. I thought they were going to beat Roki. They did beat Roki Saturday. They had Miguel Rojas pitching, which, funny story, I had my buddy that I'm helping manage his FanDuel account, his betting account. And I was like, oh, Roki's pitching? You need to put money on the Cubs tonight. And I even said it on pod, like, hey, I think the Cubs are going to win Saturday, and I think they're going to win Sunday. So I'm at this dinner party at my house, at my family house. And so we were outside, but I had the MLB network. I had Cubs, Dodgers. I was getting so mad because somebody, I don't know who at this dinner party, decided that every time that they walked by my television, they would turn off the game. And they got to the point where I was like, stop turning off the Cubs-Dodgers game. I actually have money on this game, and you guys need to stop doing this to me. After I did that, they put up 15 runs. So, like, I was quite happy that they won, 16 zip on Sunday? They absolutely on Saturday.
Yeah, 16-0. It is a franchise record biggest loss at home in Dodger history.
I mean, are we gonna have conversations about the Dodgers or conversations about the Cubs? I mean, the Cubs are 11-7. They're 7-3 in their last 10. PCA hit 2 nukes last night. He's an elite defender, to say the least. They beat Tyler Glasnow. And the rotation didn't self-destruct the last 2 nights. So are they finally cooking?
Well, for as exciting as the series win in LA was for the Cubs, they did lose their best pitcher for the season. Justin Steele out for the year with an elbow injury. Still to be confirmed if he's going to get Tommy John. He got Tommy John for the first time back in 2017. Once you heard last week that he was going for a second opinion, it's like, that's probably bad news coming for Cubs fans. I've been there before with Garrett Cole.
Whenever a second opinion is needed, it's like a life. Let me just ask you, William. When you go to your buddy for advice and then you have to go to another friend for advice, a second opinion, that probably means you didn't like what the first person told you.
That's exactly what it means. It means I don't like what you're telling me. And unfortunately, yeah, bad news for Cubs fans and for Steele. But it was, I don't want to take away from what was a successful weekend. Also, Seiya Suzuki, I believe, landed on the injured list too. But their offense looks great, man. I mean, Carson Kelly has all of a sudden been producing this year. Kyle Tucker has slotted into that lineup really well. They're first in runs, fourth in homers, first in stolen bases. They play really good team defense. You mentioned PCA with the 2 homers last night on Sunday Night Baseball. Also had a triple in there. He plays elite defense. There was rumors that he got offered a $75 million contract extension from the Cubs this week. And they have tabled extension talks. They're, Mike Rodriguez or Mike Deportes, as we have quoted quite often on this podcast. He seems to have the scoop on a lot of guys. He was reporting this week that Kyle Tucker and the Cubs are in contract extension talks. We'll see what happens. I also saw a report that the Cubs are waiting for Kyle Tucker to fall in love with Chicago this summer. I mean,
what is this?
I guess that means it's cold and it's not as enjoyable in Chicago right now. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting negotiation tactic, but
is it cold? Is it hard to fall in love with Chicago, my guy?
Yeah, I mean, it's still enjoyable even if it's cold. It's still a great city. So I don't know what that's all about, but they had a great weekend producing. If PCA gets it going with the bat, I mean, dude, we're talking about one of the best players in the game. But unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be, a top tier bat in this game. But like I've said before in the past, as long as he plays elite defense the way he does, he's going to have a 10+ year career. And if the bat comes along, hey, even better. What trade was he in? He drafted 2020 by the Mets. What trade?
I think it was a Javi Baez trade.
You're right.
That might be, it was a Javi Baez. It was PCA for Javi Baez and Trevor Williams. But I think the biggest thing to talk about the Cubs is they're doing this without Ian Happ, who's hitting 208, and Dansby Swanson hitting 188. I think the one thing that we also like, I know we talk about a lot with the Yankees, is that they have a really good spine. Like between Nico Horner and Dansby Swanson, like that's a really good middle infield defense. And what I like is, Justin Turner is older, but he's a wily veteran. He knows how to hit the ball. He knows how to work counts. He'll get you walks. It's just a matter of time if Matt Shaw and these other guys they're paying get it together. And if they get it together and there's, Carson Kelly's bound for regression, like this team could be very dangerous. Now, my question is, I'm going to give you a list of pitchers, rapid fire. I think it's for sure that the Cubs are probably going to get a pitcher at the deadline if they're doing this well, for one. And two, they have one of the best farm systems in the majors. So I think I'm going to pose you some names. Pablo Lopez, Sandy Alcantara. What do you think about those two guys?
I would love both of them. Both not really in teams that wouldn't want to trade with the Cubs. Lopez is on the injured list right now with a hamstring, but I expect him to hopefully get healthy. It doesn't seem like that's too serious of an injury. Sandy, the rumor mill has been kind of burning with him lately. He wasn't great against Washington over the weekend, but the Marlins did win that game. They won 2 out of 3 in that series.
We're going to use the Devin Williams excuse. He just had a kid. He was on paternity leave. He's a brand new father. Let's clap it up.
Congratulations to Sandy.
Yeah, so let's hold your horses. You're not sleeping that much. A brand new human into this world is a whole new responsibility. So, that's for one. And then I would say Mitch Keller, but they're in division. And then Sonny Gray and Eric Fetty. I don't think those are kind of two guys that would end up. I think Alden would come on this podcast and just say a lot of things.
Yeah, I don't think the Cardinals are trading their guys to the Cubs, but now with the Steele injury, it's almost certain, you're right, that they're going to be trading for someone at the trade deadline. Shota hasn't been his best so far this season, but right now Fangraphs has it slotted. Shota, Matthew Boyd, Ben Brown, who was really good this weekend in LA. Yeah, Colin Ray, and then Jameson Tyone. Tyone has not been great so far this season. They have an interesting week. They got 3 on the road against San Diego. That's the thing, too. And, the Padres have the best record in baseball, but if you go in and look at who they've played, the only really good team on the schedule so far this season for the Padres has been the Cubs, and they lost that series 2 out of 3. The Cubs have been playing good teams. This is something we talked about in the preview podcast. The first month or so of their season it's been a brutal stretch, and they're on this West Coast trip. They got 3 against San Diego starting tonight. That's going to be a really fun series to watch. They're facing Dylan Cease tonight. San Diego.
He wasn't that good last week. He got hit around by Oakland last week. Oakland belt the ass him last week.
He did shave.
Hey, shaving powers. Hey.
And then the Cubs got Arizona over the weekend. So, and then they got LA coming to town next week. I might try to go to one of those games. But yeah, it's been a grind of a schedule, and they're 11-7, first in that division. You feel good about the Cubs, and kind of, there's one other team that we're going to talk about that I actually feel pretty good about in this division. But other than a couple of those teams, it's not the best division. They could in theory run away with this thing.
I think the Cardinals are better than what we give credit to. I think
agree.
The Cardinals are I know we were a little bit down on them this year, but I think they're better than what we think. They got a lot of young talent, and they're bound to make a game, scrappy, just like that whole Central does. Like, it's just scrappy baseball. But I would ask you, again, how about we give them? What if Seattle decides to nuke it? I think Seattle and Chicago would be good trade partners, because Chicago has good bats and Seattle doesn't have bats. Seattle has an abundance of pitching. They got Bryce Miller, Brian Wu, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, and then they have Luis Castillo. You put a Luis Castillo on the Cubs, he's pitched in that division, had high success in that division, a lot of team control, not a rental. You put Castillo with Shota Imanaga.
Yeah, Castillo, I've been seeing a lot of tweets and reports saying that the Mariners aren't interested in trading him. But the fact that those reports are even coming out, kind of reading the tea leaves there. They did sweep Texas this weekend. Cal Raleigh had a home run in every single game. Started using a torpedo bat, and all of a sudden he becomes Barry Bonds. But it's been, a story as old as time for the past few seasons here. Seattle needs bats. They have an abundance of pitching. At some point, they got to cash in the chips. It's kind of like the Grizzlies, kind of a crossover for a team that I care about outside of MLB. Like at some point, the Grizzlies got to cash their chips in and try to take advantage of whatever, people think this young core is going to be. The Mariners got to cash in their chips with their pitching rotation and try to do something with the bats. So I think it would make sense, for the Cubs.
Who would you rather have? Would you rather have a Luis Castillo, Sandy Alcantara, or Pablo Lopez?
Probably Sandy, because he's cheaper and he still has a couple years of control.
But so does Luis Castillo.
I know, but you got to pay him more. And we know the Cubs are notoriously cheap, or maybe not notoriously, but they've been kind of cheaper lately. And they got to, in theory, hopefully they're spending that Kyle Tucker money this offseason too, or during the season.
So that's funny that you bring that up, because I was listening to Buster Olney and Jeff Passan, and they brought up the fact that, they asked, hey, where do you think Kyle Tucker's going to go? And they brought up the point that, Cubs fans are really getting restless with the Ricketts family, in the sense that, no owner, and this is just what Passan said, no owner wants to be known as the cheap owner. And, they weren't in on Soto. They weren't in on Ohtani. And what he said was like, he might just be like, screw it, I'll just pay this guy so fans can get off my back. So I don't get looked at as the cheap owner.
I mean, that's a good player to have that mindset about.
Maybe they go to Castillo, or maybe they just nuke the whole farm and put a rotation together. I don't know.
I mean, if they start running away with this division, at what point do they say, screw it, let's go all in on this season? Like, we have a chance to win the World Series the one year that we maybe have Kyle Tucker.
I mean, the Dodgers right now are freaking not playing that great. I know it's April baseball, but hey, the Dodgers are 4-6 right now. They're one game off of Arizona, who is 9-7. They're not playing great baseball.
4-6.
No, I mean, they're 4-6 in their last 10.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, hey, if you can, like you said, if you stack your wins now, like, hey, it's going to pay dividends later on. Like, for as bad and as much as we criticize the Mets are 10-5 and 8-2 in their last 10. Like, they're beating the teams they need to beat.
Yeah, the Mets, the pitching has been one of the biggest storylines so far this season. Before we move on from the Dodgers and the Cubs, can we just give some love to Yamamoto for his start on Friday?
Yeah, I did give him love last week. Why do we need to give more flowers?
Because he was incredible. I mean, the splitter was just disgusting. I mean, he was consistently locating it low and away on lefties. The final line was 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, a walk, and 9 strikeouts. I mean, he looked like the guy that they gave money to. He looked like he had his confidence back. That was kind of a guy last year that I don't think he was fully confident. He battled injuries last year in his first season in Major League Baseball. But Saturday night, he was really impressive. He completely shut down the Cubs.
I think the difference between Yamamoto and Roki is that Yamamoto has a way better pedigree. And I texted you this, like, Yamamoto was a Cy Young 3 times in the MPB. Roki was never a Cy Young winner, and it's the Sawamura a winner. Never. And so it's like a way better pedigree. I mean, the thing with Yamamoto is it differentiates Yamamoto and Roki. And like, I thought about this, and Orel Hershiser said it best, is that for your splitter to be effective for these hitters, you have to be able to locate that fastball down in the zone in the knees. If you're not able to do that, hitters are just gonna like just sit on fastball and just let the splitter just go, because the splitter is always going to crash down out of the zone.
Mm-hmm.
So
he was great. 26 years old. He's been their best pitcher this season. after him, really, it's kind of been a lot of question marks. So that's kind of an interesting storyline to follow.
Hey, they
early
might
in the season.
They might get Sandy Alcantara, or they might just go get Luis Robert, which I think was a big report this week that they had talks with the White Sox for James Outman plus for Luis Robert. Of course, it would be some guy like James Outman who like isn't even on their MLB roster. Like we've seen him, we know what he is, and it's just like, yeah, we'll give you Luis Robert for James Outman plus a prospect.
I mean, Robert's been pretty bad this year. 163. I was at the White Sox game on Sunday. Can we talk about that maybe a little bit?
Only the Dodgers will get these discounted prices. Like if the Yankees or the Red Sox went for Luis Robert, it would be something like, oh, we're gonna need freaking Spencer Jones and your firstborn child. And for the Red Sox, it would be, yeah, we're gonna need Marcelo Meyer, and maybe you give us Willer Abreu. So
speaking of what Red Sox, I did go to the game on Sunday.
Talk about it.
Garrett Crochet had a no-hitter or a perfect game through like the 5th inning, and then a no-hitter through 7 2/3. I think it was the deepest I've seen a no-hitter in person. And then Chase Meidroth got the single to the left side. But the White Sox win 2 out of 3 against the Red Sox in the Battle of the Sox. White Sox win out. I do wear White Sox, so I mean, who wears Red Sox? But yeah, Crochet was great in his return to Chicago. You could have predicted that. I know the White Sox won the series, but just looking at them, it's like that lineup is just, I mean, it's the worst lineup I've seen. I think it's worse than last year's lineup. But on the bright side, they do have some positives on the pitching side of things. And I got to see Shane Smith pitch yesterday, and he was good. He was good against what was what's a good lineup. So not much to take away from this series, by any stretch of the imagination. But I think it's kind of a slow start for the Red Sox. They really haven't fired on all cylinders just yet. And the Sox exist, but they got some good pitching.
That's what I was going to say. I was saying Sox had a whole awful week. What a bad week for the Sox. Losing the series versus Toronto and then the White Sox, man, that's tough. I mean, these are the games that are going to hurt and are going to come down to haunt you at the stretch, Hopefully you're not hopefully it doesn't hurt you and you lose division. Hopefully it's like Rory McIlroy that you're able to recover and still make the playoffs. And so,
yeah, the Red Sox, that was a great Masters yesterday.
Hey, can we talk about that? How good was that Masters?
Before 15-1 right now, Rays over the Red Sox in the 6th inning. The Masters were immaculate. Rory, missed the putt on what was it? 18. I thought that was it. And to be able to mentally recover from where he was at that point, because Justin Rose was so good all day. He was heading into the day. No, it was an afterthought. And I don't know, the fact that Rory was able to bounce back and hit that great approach shot in the first playoff hole, impressive. And obviously, got the career grand slam. So everyone was rooting for him.
Can we also talk about how there was a lack of coverage for the live golfers like DeChambeau and Patrick Reed? I mean,
you think
DeChambeau didn't have a great day yesterday, but like throughout the weekend, DeChambeau wasn't getting any talk. And then Patrick Reed had a good weekend. Patrick Reed's he's a quality golfer, my guy.
Yeah, I mean, what are you, a live guy all of a sudden now that you went to the event last Sunday?
No, I'm just calling a spade here. He won the Masters in 2018. He is somebody.
Yeah, he's polarizing. Bryson, Bryson, he's come around. I don't know. He's not my favorite golfer, but he was in the final group on Sunday at the Masters. I don't know. I didn't really notice. I didn't watch that much besides the final round, to be honest. Really, the final few holes. Not a huge golf watcher.
My biggest criticism about the Masters coverage this weekend was that on Thursday and Friday, I had to wait till 3 p.m. to watch coverage, like ESPN. Like there's people playing at 10 a.m. and I can't watch the rounds. I just have to watch like the highlights at 3 p.m. Like we have to get ESPN Plus. Like get real, man.
Yeah, they're pushing everything to Plus.
Oh, well, pushing more to their pockets is what it's better said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, White Sox, you went to the game. I mean, let's do some quick hitters here. Let's talk about Hunter Greene, man. The Reds swept the Pirates. Hunter Greene, another great start. 7 innings, 2 hit, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. First time going 7 innings pitched in 3 straight starts. Sat 17 in a row down. How are we talking about that, my guy?
Yeah, I wrote about him in my Substack post this week, and he followed it up with a great start. He was electric last Monday against the Giants and was electric last night against the Pirates. Let's do a Cy Young check award. It's not live right now on DraftKings because the games are going on right now. So I'll go over to FanDuel.
I got them right here. I beat you to it. So right now, going on MGM Bet, I'm going to do all your thing. MGM Bet has it at 250 Paul Skeens, Hunter Green 350, 750 Wheeler, Schwallenbach 550, 1400 Yamamoto, 2200 Logan Webb. Okay. Caesars Sportsbook has it 170 Skeens, 375 HG, 650 Wheeler, 550 Schwallenbach, Yamamoto 1600. Then ESPN Bet has it at 275 for Skeens, 360 HG, Wheeler 900, Schwallenbach 600, Yamamoto 1600. Logan Webb is 3,000 on ESPN Bet, and Caesars has him at 1,300.
Yeah, he was plus 600 when we spoke last Thursday morning, whatever it was. I mean, another great start.
I'm telling you, my guy, he's I've been beating the strain since this first started. Fellas hopping on. I just don't think the Reds are sustaining this offense. I think they need to go get bats. I don't think, these guys it's hodgepodge of guys are going to get it done, in my opinion.
Yeah, Ellie De La Cruz grand slam Friday night on his bobblehead night from the right side of the plate.
Hey.
But yeah, the story with the Reds so far is the pitching. They're second in ERA among starters, 8th amongst relievers, first in WHIP and walks per 9 amongst starters, second in hits per 9. We saw Andrew Abbott make his first start of the season yesterday. He was good in his first go at it. It's a really good rotation, and you're led by a potential Cy Young guy. If we're doing a Hunter Green watch, he's got a fun start this weekend. He's starting Saturday in Baltimore. Team that maybe hasn't really gotten going offensively, but it'll be more of a challenge than Pittsburgh was.
He had Pittsburgh and he had San Francisco.
Yeah.
In San Francisco. I mean, the biggest thing with the Reds, I feel like they're the NL version of the Mariners. Lots of arms. I mean, they have Abbott, Hunter Green, Lodolo, Nick Martinez, Brady Singer, and they have Chase Burns coming up and Rhett Lauder, who's ready to get. But what do they have hitting wise? Christian Encarnacion Strand, Gavin Lux, who pretty much has become a multi-utility player at this point.
Yeah, the hitting numbers aren't great. 29th in average, 18th in homers, 28th in OBP and OPS. They're not stealing bases, 21st in stolen bases. Yeah, they got to get it going at the plate. But they're 8-8. Probably not going to be pushing for a wild card, considering how good the National League West is and the National League East. So really going to have to go for that division, which could be tough because we just talked about Chicago. We both think highly of them. 2 games back right now. I don't think it's too early to start looking at the standings because they're going to have to keep up with Chicago, and it's gonna be tough to keep that offense going.
It's gonna be dicey. I mean, those stolen bases, are inflated because of Mr. Ellie De La Cruz. But it's going to be dicey. I mean, they got to get a bat. They got to get it going. I mean, they got good managerial. I think Francona Council managerial battle will be one for the ages. I mean, probably 2 top 10 managers in the game. It's just, do they have the bats to get to October?
Yeah. Atlanta lost 2 of 3 in Tampa Bay. They've bounced back today, though. Austin Riley, 2 home runs so far. One of my guys. They're up 8-1 in the 8th. And the Rays, we just mentioned 15-1. I want to say a personal thank you for dropping Junior Caminero in fantasy because since you've dropped him, I picked him up and he hit a home run in 3 straight games. So
that was not me.
Oh, who was it?
It was not me. I don't know who it was.
Oh, it was Alden. Sorry, it was not you. Sorry, I didn't mean to come at you.
I dropped Soderstrom. Thank God Armand hasn't talked any trash about me dropping Soderstrom yet. Yeah,
that was a bad drop.
Hey, I'm cutthroat on my team, but Atlanta lost me money this weekend. I thought they were going to win the series against Tampa, but Tampa's just, scrappy. Tampa's in that category of Detroit, Kansas City, Cleveland. I mean, talk about Kansas City, Cleveland. Cleveland ended up, winning the series. They had held strong at home, winning 2 out of 3 on Friday and Saturday night. I mean, the big takeaway is, again, AL Central continues to cannibalize itself. And I mean,
yeah, Gabriel Arias was really good in that series, and they got a good start from Luis Ortiz on Saturday. So, yeah, Guardians, we'll see what happens in that division. I think the Tigers, they won 2 out of 3 in Minnesota. Spencer Torkelson has been great so far this season. I posted a swing breakdown of some of the changes he's made year over year on our Instagram and also YouTube Reels. So go give that a view. Yeah, he's been great. He's been a revelation for that lineup. I kind of just feel like Detroit might run away with that division. Like they're just.
I think Detroit's the best team, and I think Andrew hit the nail on the head. I think their pitching coach is doing wonders with Casey Mize, and of course, when I pick him up, he has his blow-up start yesterday for 4 against Minnesota. But man, that pitching is really good. Reese Olson, Mize, Flaherty, Skubal, like that's a formidable 4. Like you have Skubal, which is your elite guy, but then you have a bunch of guys that would be 2 3s in a lot of MLB starting rotations. Torkelson's hitting well. They had Zach McKinstry's doing work too. Kerry Carpenter's sort of getting a little of a power stroke. So if Riley Greene can get a little bit going, I feel like they can just run away with that division easily.
Yeah, Carpenter hit a home run tonight. They're up 9-0 against the Brewers right now. So that offense is coming. They just got Gleyber Torres back this week. He's healthy, or last week he's 1 for 3 tonight with 3 RBIs. So he's having a good game. They're good. I think they're the best team in that division. So that's quick Central. Couple hitters there. We had the Angels and the Astros. The Astros won 2 out of 3. Isaac Paredes is taking advantage of the Crawford boxes. A home run in 3 straight games for him, all to left field. We know he's a pull hitter, and he's hit nukes to the Crawford boxes.
He's never hit a home run. Like all of his homers have been like pull home runs. Like they pulled up his like savant page on MLB Network, and they were all pull home runs. Like no home run to center, no home run to right. It's just all like all accurate. He's very precise and very accurate. Let's put it that way with his home runs.
I respect the consistency. He's trying to do one thing, and he's doing it at a good level right now.
There's a reason why they traded Kyle Tucker for him. So hey, congratulations. We talked about Boston, Chicago. We talked about Detroit and Minnesota. Philadelphia got 2 out of 3 from St. Louis.
No, sorry, I wrote that down wrong in the doc. St. Louis did win 2 out of 3 in that one, actually.
Okay, yeah. Alden was about to hop on this podcast and be like, "Oh, yeah. We had to hear it." But good series win for St. Louis. Christopher Sanchez had a great start on Saturday, but Matthew Liberatore outdueled yesterday. I think it was Zach Wheeler who pitched yesterday.
Yep.
So congratulations. Mason Wynn's going to the IL with bat spasms. Mets beat the A's. The A's is a Little League park. Don't know what else to say about that. The
A's are fun to watch. Jacob Wilson lost his 16-game hitting streak yesterday. Great start to the season for him. But Mason Miller looked really good on Saturday. Gave up a hit, but he throws absolute flames. I think he hit 103 when I was watching it. Edwin Diaz hasn't been great. I think that's kind of a storyline so far. We talked about it last week, but the closers haven't been good. Don't look at Emmanuel Clase's numbers. Don't look at Edwin Diaz's numbers so far.
They're not good.
They've both struggled.
Yeah. Well, Clase should have a loss for that if Mike Hockman has a cervical hamstring.
Yeah.
That
would have been a tie game. So it would have been a blown save, but point still stands.
Colorado literally got belt to ass this weekend. Like they are the belt to ass team this weekend. Like they did not score a single run. I think it was like I looked at it this morning, and I'm gonna look it up right now. Like I looked at the box scores. They're 3-12. That is abysmal. Colorado hit 3 hits on Friday. They got 2 hit yesterday, and then Saturday they were 4 hit. Talk about an abysmal offense. Michael King was electric. My biggest thing with Michael King going start to start is I just want to see some consistency with some mechanics. His first start versus the Braves wasn't great, and he wasn't looking great mechanically. Like he was getting like his torso wasn't in great alignment. And then, the same thing was happening when he pitched the A's. He got a little bit unlucky that his stuff wasn't really like breaking and going how it was, and there was good plate discipline about the A's not to fall for the sinker sweeper mix that he has. But he's making himself some money. Complete game shutout. Congratulations, big guy. That's hard to do against professionals. in the major league level.
Yeah, he was good. Padres have kind of been banged up. Cronenworth hit the injured list with a fractured rib. Doesn't matter. They keep winning. They're playing the Cubs this week, so that'll be an interesting series to follow. And I don't know, I could watch Fernando Tatis hit home runs all day. He's kind of one of those players that every time he hits a home run, it feels like it's just a moonshot. One of my favorite players to watch hit home runs, to be honest.
Yeah. He hit that one last against the A's to like the top of a building. Like it was like, whoa, what the out to left? I was like, whoa. Like that was a nuke shot.
He's different, man.
Different. I didn't get to watch much of Milwaukee, Arizona. It was on, but I just can't watch games in Arizona. I mean, Arizona's very up and down. Milwaukee looks like they're going to get together too offensively. I mean, Bryce Terang's having a good year. Jackson Churios being great. Wilson Contreras just finally started to get some power into that bat. So don't look out. Milwaukee's on the way. And then Texas, Seattle. We talked about how Seattle torpedoed the crap out of Texas.
Yeah, Cal Raleigh, most home runs in Mariners history from a catcher.
So yeah, hey. And that was the weekend. What's up? You got a note?
Quintana was good for the Brewers on Friday. 7 innings.
You know Quintana joined an elusive list on Friday.
No.
He joined the list of MLB pitchers that have beaten every 30 MLB teams.
No way. He's beaten every single. That is honestly really impressive.
Yeah, he did.
Wow. I mean, I know he's bounced around. Yeah, 7 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, 2 strikeouts, no walks. He was great. So let's see. I'm just pulling up. He's put White Sox, Cubs, Angels, Giants, Pirates, Cardinals, Mets, and then Brewers. He's really, I mean, that's a good immaculate grid guy.
Yeah, very good immaculate grid. Any notes left?
Did you see this Atlantic League QR code thing? I thought it was actually pretty interesting.
Talk about it.
From a marketing perspective, I think it makes sense, especially for like the Atlantic League where they kind of try things out. But their Atlantic League is adding QR codes to their baseballs this season. And you're like, why would they add QR codes to the baseballs? Well, obviously a lot of foul balls get hit into the stands. A lot of balls get thrown out into the fans. So these QR codes, they could contain food discounts, 50% off tickets for a future game, free parking, or an unlimited number of baseball perks. Each team is going to have different codes. They could sell it to a potential sponsor because we know everything has to be sponsored in this country. You may wonder, hey, what happens if they foul a ball off and the ball gets smeared? Well, they said that smudged or smeared baseballs could lose 25% of its readability and still work. So their season starts on April 25th. I'm kind of curious to see what this is going to end up. I mean, I'm not going to go to any Atlantic League games, but I'm kind of fascinated by this concept. I actually think, maybe some fans don't like it, but I actually think it makes some sense.
It'll be interesting to see what happens out in the Atlantic League.
They're always trying stuff in the Atlantic League.
Hey, you got to love it. Try new things, get uncomfortable in the comfortable. So get comfortable in the uncomfortable.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. It's been a long day.
Long day. A lot of travel, huh?
A lot of travel. But I mean, hey, maybe Locked In Sports takes Puerto Rico, MLB lockout. We're going to have to find new jobs.
The lockout will be after the 26th season, not during the WBC.
Hey, well, we'll scout out. We'll look at stadiums. I mean, hey, we can get some good courtside passes, court on-field passes in Puerto Rico. You got
the connect over there in Puerto Rico for baseball.
Hey, we could try and get the connect.
Let's do it. I mean, the WBC's coming, so it'd be fun to go.
Go Press.
We were in Miami last time for the WBC. So, You got anything else?
No, that wraps up week 2.5. I mean, fantasy baseball season is going crazy right now. I mean, Armand is doing victory laps currently. I think we need Rob to rise from the ashes. I need Josh and Rob to rise from the ashes and just get to Armand up in first place.
He's in first by 2 points. We have not heard the end of it.
We have not heard the end of it, but hey, there's a lot of season to go, and that's what we are. We're only 2.5 weeks in. We'll be back next week for week 3.5, 3.5.
Indeed. Thank you all for listening. Luis, thanks as always. It was a pleasure. Hope you guys enjoyed. And until next time, we'll catch you then. Peace out.